Okay, hello, my dear students. I am Priyanka Koiri, your science teacher, and today we are going to start a new chapter which is very interesting. That is light, reflection, and refraction. This is very important. This chapter is very important from your examination point of view, also. Okay, so let's start. What is light? Light is a form of energy which help us to see objects. Okay, and how does light help us to see an object? So when light falls on an object, it reflects the light, and when reflected light reaches our eyes, then we see the object, right? And we know that light travels in a straight line, and this is called rectilinear propagation of light. I think you have studied about it in earlier classes. Now, some common phenomena of light are formation of shadows, formation of images by mirror and lenses, bending of light, formation of rainbow, etc. Okay, so some phenomena of light is shown here. The first one is bending of light. This bending of light is called refraction of light. We will study about this in detail in the next class. The next is there is a girl standing and her shadow is formed, and this is caused due to light only. And the next one is a diagram, is a picture of rainbow, a very beautiful rainbow, and rainbows are also caused due to light only. Next, what is reflection of light? So when light falls on a plain polished surface like a mirror, most of the light is sent back into the same medium, right? This phenomena of bouncing back of light is called reflection of light. It means that whenever light hits a surface and when it is bounced back, that means when it comes back to the same medium, this is called reflection of light. Here in this diagram you can see the pink arrows denote a ray of light coming from a source. The source could be either a bulb, sun, etc., and after touching the mirror it is bouncing back. The green arrow shows the reflected ray, right? So this is called your reflection. This phenomena of bouncing back of light is called reflection of light. Okay, now let us try to understand the laws of reflection. There are basically two laws of reflection. The first one is the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. The second one says the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal to the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Now, what does this terms mean? We will discuss now with the help of a diagram. Here, in the left hand side, you can see a ray of light is coming. That ray of light is called incident ray. Okay, and there is a perpendicular drawn which is denoted by dotted line. This is called normal, right? And in the right hand side you can see a arrow going that is called your reflected ray. So the law says that incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal to the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. That means they all will be together in one plane. Now between the incident ray and the normal there is one angle denoted by I. This is called your angle of incidence. And between the reflected ray and the normal there is another angle shown which is denoted by small r. This is called angle of reflection. So according to the laws of reflection, it can be said that angle I is equal to angle r. That means angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So these are the two laws of reflection. Okay, next is image. What is an image? The reflected on a mirror we see our image. Images are basically of two types. One is real image and the other one is a virtual image. A real image is formed when rays converge. When rays of light meet at a point, then we see real image. It can be obtained in screen. Real image can be obtained in a screen. And what is virtual image? A virtual image is formed when rays only appear to diverge. It means that the rays actually don't meet, rather it diverges. Okay, it cannot be obtained in a screen. So virtual image cannot be obtained in a screen. In this diagram you can see there, in the first diagram you can see there is a man and a plane mirror is there. Okay, and an object is kept at position A and its image is formed at position B. So here you can see the rays of light are not meeting, whereas it is diverging, right? So this is a virtual image. And in the second diagram you can see the man is there and an object is placed at position A and its image is formed at position B. In this case the image is formed outside the mirror, and in the first case the image is formed inside the mirror. Okay, so this is the main difference between a real image and a virtual image. Virtual image cannot be obtained in screen, whereas real image can be obtained in screen. Next, image formed by a plane mirror. Plane mirrors are those mirrors that we use in our day-to-day life. So there are certain characteristics of images formed by plane mirror. What are they? First one is the image is always erect. That means it is always in standing position, right? The image is same as the size of the object. That means the size of the image is equal to the size of the object. The third point says that the image is at the same distance from the mirror as the object is in front of it. It means that the distance between the object and the mirror will be equal to the distance between the mirror and the image. The image is virtual. That means the image is formed inside the mirror. And the next one is the image shows lateral inversion. Lateral inversion means whenever we'll see our face or look ourselves in a mirror, we see that whenever we raise our right hand, the image that is formed inside the mirror raises its left hand. Whenever we raises our left hand, the image in the mirror raises its right hand. So that is called lateral inversion. Okay, so here in this diagram you can see I have shown the characteristics of the mirror here. Okay, here the size of the object is equal to the size of the object image. You can see it. The image is erect. That means it is not inverted. Just like the object, the image is same as it. Okay, and the image distance is equal to the object distance. Fine, clear? Now next are spherical mirrors. Okay, so what are spherical mirrors? Spherical mirror is a curved mirror which is a part of a hollow sphere. Okay, so spherical mirrors are curved mirror that forms a part of a sphere. Spherical mirrors are basically two types. One is your concave mirror and the other one is your convex mirror. What are concave mirror? Concave mirrors are those spherical mirrors whose reflecting surface are curved inwards. Okay, so in case of concave mirror, the reflecting surface will be curved inwards. This can be better understood with the help of a by considering a spoon. Suppose you see with the help like in spoon we can see the curved one, the curved part, the part on which the food is taken, that part is curved outward. I mean that part is curved inward. So that is your concave part. And the spherical mirror whose reflecting surface are curved outwards are called convex mirror. Concave mirrors are also called converging, and convex mirror are also called as diverging mirrors. Why they are called converging and diverging mirror, I will tell you in the next slide. Okay, so I have shown you here, I have shown you a diagram of concave mirror and convex mirror. So in concave mirror you can see The part in which you will see the image is curved inwards in case of concave mirror, whereas in case of convex mirror the part in which you will see your image is curved outward. Okay, so this is the major difference between concave mirror and convex mirror. Okay, now terms used in the study of spherical mirrors. To study in detail about spherical mirrors, we need to understand certain terms. What are they? Let's start. Number one is your center of curvature. Center of curvature is denoted by the letter C, capital C. The center of a sphere of which the spherical mirror is a part of is called the center of curvature. Since spherical mirrors are part of a sphere and spheres have center, so that center is called your center of curvature. It lies outside the reflecting surface. The center of curvature is not on the reflecting surface, it lies outside of it. The center of curvature of concave mirror lies in front of it. In case of concave mirror, you will find the center of curvature in front of the mirror, whereas in case of convex mirror, the center of curvature lies behind the mirror. Right? Next one is pole. It is denoted by the letter P. The center of the reflecting surface of a spherical mirror is a point called pole. Okay, it lies on the surface of the mirror. Okay, the next one is your radius of curvature. The radius of sphere of which the reflecting mirror is a part of is called radius of curvature. So I have already told that spherical mirrors are part of sphere. Sphere has center and it will also have radius. That radius is known as radius of curvature. It is denoted by the letter capital R. Next is principal axis. The straight line passing through center of curvature and the pole is called principal axis. Okay. The next one is principal focus. This is very important. In concave mirror, rays of light parallel to principal axis after reflection meet at a point in the principal axis called principal focus of concave mirror. In case of concave mirror, you will see when rays of light comes parallel to principal axis, after reflecting they meet at a point on principal axis. That point is called principal focus. Whereas in case of convex mirror, a rays of light parallel to principal axis after reflection get diverged and appear to come from a point on the principal axis behind the mirror called principal focus of the convex mirror. Okay, so in case of convex mirror, when rays of light parallel to principal axis touches the mirror, it gets reflected. And it is diverged and it appears to come from a point on the principal axis. That point is called principal focus of convex mirror. Principal focus is denoted by the letter F. Next is focal length. The distance between pole and principal focus of a spherical mirror is called focal length. The distance between pole and focus is called focal length. It is denoted by the letter small f, and in a spherical mirror, it is seen that the radius of curvature is twice of focal length. That means R is equal to twice f, or in other words, it can be said that the focus is in between radius of curvature and pole. Okay, fine. Next is your aperture. The diameter of the reflecting surface of a spherical mirror is called its aperture. In this diagram, it is shown here MN. Can you see this straight line from M to N? That is called your aperture, right? And in the right hand side, you can see P. P stands for pole. Just I have told you earlier. F stands for focal length, and C is the center of the sphere, and it is called center of curvature. And the straight line passing through C, F and P, black one, is called your principal axis, right? And the distance between F and P. The distance, the length of F and P is your focal length, and the length of C to P is your radius of curvature. I hope it is clear. This is in this diagram, right? Okay. Now moving on to reflection by spherical mirrors. How light rays are reflected by spherical mirrors, we will learn now. Okay. Number 1. In a concave mirror, a ray of light parallel to principal axis after reflection passes through the principal focus. Here, to understand the reflection of by spherical mirrors, we will draw certain ray diagrams, and with the help of this ray diagram we will try to understand reflection in spherical mirrors. Okay, so in the first diagram you can see principal axis is there and a ray of light is passing parallel to principal axis, and this ray of light after reflecting it passes through F, that is focus, principal focus of concave mirror. Okay. Next, in a convex mirror, a ray of light parallel to principal axis after reflection appears to diverge from the principal focus. It means that here also we have seen convex mirror here, and a ray of light is coming parallel to principal axis, and after reflection the ray of light is diverging. That means it is going away from the mirror, and when we draw the ray backward it seems that this ray is appears to originate from principal focus. Clear? Next is, in a concave mirror, a ray of light passing through principal focus after reflection will emerge parallel to principal axis. It means that when a ray of light is coming through focus, in this diagram you can see, please note the arrow here, in this diagram you can see a ray of light is coming through focus, that is F, and after touching the mirror it is reflected parallel to principal axis. Okay. The next one, in a convex mirror, a ray of light which is directed towards the principal focus after reflection will emerge parallel to principal axis. So in this diagram you can see that AE is a ray of light and is going towards focus, right? So after reflection the ray EG is going parallel to principal axis. What it means to say that whenever a ray of light passes through focus, it will always, after reflection it will always go parallel to principal axis. Next is, in a concave mirror, a ray of light passing through center of curvature after reflection is reflected back along the same path. Here in this diagram a ray of light is coming through C, and the reflected ray is also going in this same path by which the incident ray came, right? Clear? Next is, in convex mirror, a ray of light directed towards the center of curvature after reflection is reflected back along the same path. Here also in this diagram you can see the ray of light is directed towards center of curvature, and after reflection it is going along the same path. Clear? The next one is, in concave or convex mirror, a ray of light directed obliquely at the pole is reflected obliquely, making equal angles with principal axis. It means that in this diagram you can see a ray of light is falling directly into the pole, and after reflection it is reflected back in a different direction in such a way that the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection are equal in concave as well as in convex mirror. Okay, so these are certain rules that you have to keep in mind while on drawing ray diagrams. So why do we need ray diagrams? About this we will discuss in the next class, where we will be studying about image formation by spherical mirrors, and all these things that I have discussed now will be required tomorrow. So please kindly understand it, and thank you.